newly elected, soon to be inducted Pro Football Hall of Famer Dwight Freeney, which let's get the obvious thing out of the way. Like, does that get old? I can't
Never.
imagine it does.
No, never, man. Never. I've been telling everybody I have a permanent smile on my face ever since hearing that, the news that I'm going to be a Hall of Famer. I swear to God, it just, as soon as I think about it, done.
I'm curious, and I mean, it's so awesome that you got in your second year of
Yeah.
eligibility. I'm always interested, from the outsider's perspective, and it's not fair, but you see it and you say like, oh, he didn't get in this year, but he'll get in, But that's easy for me to say. Like you being a perennial All Pro, one of the best players of your generation. What was that like, even having to wait a year and then finally, getting that validation when you did finally get the call?
Yeah, it's not an easy process. And for people that say it is, they're lying. Okay. Um, Look, I take pride in my life. I try to only worry about things that I can control. And I think it's pretty good. It's served me well. Well, this one you can't control, and I worried. year After the first year it didn't happen, I'm like, man, how long am I going to have to wait? Because there's a lot of guys that should be in and that are not in, and they've been waiting year in and year out, and just waiting, and they deserve to be in there. So it's really nerve wracking. The first year I think I did a good job of not paying attention until I had like Hall of Famers, Bruce Smith and Jason Taylor and Michael Strahan. They'll come up to me, hey man, you are a shoe in this year. Don't worry. First ballot, I promise. You'll be there. Don't even worry about it. I'll save my congratulations to when I congratulate you right now. That's so once you start hearing that, and that's what I heard, I was like, man, I might actually have a chance. And then when it doesn't happen, you gotta hide. It's like, you know, oh my goodness, I didn't do it. And then and the thing is, even when you accept it and just say, you know what, it is what it is, every one of your friends, anyone who knows you, are so upset and they are so pissed off. And they're like, man, I can't believe you didn't make it. They keep bringing it back up. And you don't want
Right.
to hear it. You don't even want to talk about it anymore. It's done. It's over with. It didn't happen. And people won't let it go. So that's what makes it even worse. So thank God it happened this year because I couldn't go through another year.
So and yeah, and you're totally right. Like it's an involved process, right? Like there's a cut
Yeah.
down to 30 and there's a cut down to 20 and a cut down
Yeah.
to 10. So, and then obviously the Hall of Fame has developed this kind of iconic gesture where you get the knock on your hotel room.
Yep.
So
Yep.
not only do you get it, but if correct me if I'm wrong, but it's your coach, it's legendary coach Tony Dungy that delivers the
Yeah.
news. Like not obviously, I mean it's the dream and the goal to get the news regardless, but then you get to share it with somebody
Yeah.
like what was that like?
I mean, it's one of those moments where time kind of stood still for that moment. And I could hear a pin drop and I was kind of like shocked. And and people were like, well, how could you possibly be shocked? You knew you were going to be a Hall of Famer. And I said, you know what? It doesn't matter like what you think it's going to be. When it actually happens, it's the most, I don't know, draining, great, overwhelming feeling that you could ever have.
So I would be curious, just in general, I know it was a little bit ago, but with guys getting ready to get drafted, what's
Yeah.
your lasting impression? And maybe because of where we are, like, what's this time of it? Like I think everybody remembers hearing their name called, but what about
Yeah.
like a week before where you're just sick of waiting?
Listen, man, it's something because when I got drafted in college, it was kind of like, look, I'm sitting there in a room with all of my teammates, and we're sitting there, and I'm thinking with my family members, and we're just sitting there like, okay, when am I going to get drafted here? have no clue. And for me, I guess I had a clue, right? It was either going to be the 10th pick or between the 10th and I think the 21st or something like that. So you're sitting there like your life is going to change and you don't know when it's going to change. And look, I grew up a Giants fan, okay? Huge New York Giants fan. So you're always looking like, okay, is the Giants going to somehow trade up? Or, maybe I don't get picked until the 15th pick. And then I get to play for the team that I've been watching my
Right.
entire lifetime. So there's all those emotions. So when you actually get picked, it's like you kind of, for me, I forgot all about the Giants. I forgot about all these other teams that mattered. It was like, man, I am an Indianapolis Colt, and here we go. And that's where my brain just went to. So I didn't have to obviously wait long, but to have a guy who was projected, I don't know. Let's think about like Aaron Rodgers or somebody who was projected to go early and went late, or a guy that was supposed to go in the first and went in the second. It must have been terrible to sit there and wait and figure out what's going on. Now, when you get into the NFL and you look back at that type of thing, it doesn't matter as much because you can be drafted as a first round draft pick and be out of the NFL in 2 years,
Right.
a year, 3 years. You could be a sixth round draft pick like Tom Brady. And all of a sudden, you're one of the greatest quarterbacks you've ever lived. It's about the work that you put in when you get there. And that's what's most important. So for all those guys who are going to be sitting there and waiting to get drafted, and this is going to be nerve-wracking for them, they just have to just understand this is just the beginning. It doesn't matter as much. And especially now because everything is so slotted from a money perspective. It isn't like back then when you're like, yo, I'm second pick, I'm going to make $50 million. Hell no, I'm not. So now all of a sudden it's just you get to where you're going to go and you have to be the best you could possibly be.